Hello again. So how can living with someone impact your diet and affect your cycling performance? Well, it's because when you start to live with somebody, there's often a compromise in your diet, particularly if you're eating together and if you're shopping together. If you're not eating and shopping together, then probably it's not going to make a huge difference. But it's very common for, particularly if you're a male and female couple living together, for one person to eat too much and perhaps one person to eat too little. And the biggest things that can be affected are protein and calories. So you might not eat enough, or you might not eat enough protein. But there are many other factors that can be influenced by living together and making those compromises. So what can you do about it? Well, the best thing that I've found, stepping back a bit, we have a Monday night training group chat, particularly started by the coronavirus thing, but probably going to carry it on because it's working really effectively, and that's just people who are in our training groups, people that we coach, and athletes that, for instance, Karen Dark can contribute with some sort of sports psychology stuff. What we found is that two of the athletes in the chat have recently spent more time eating more vegetarian food and some vegan food, and what they've found is that she's eating what she described as eating like a small man, and her boyfriend has ended up eating less and ended up losing weight, and his performance went down significantly in the winter during the cyclocross season, and he was really struggling. They changed the diet and things got back a bit to normal again. I've had a similar experience in that in the build-up to 2012 Paralympics, Karen Dark and I shared a flat in Mallorca, and although we weren't eating all our meals together, Karen ended up getting quite anemic, and because I'm vegan, and she wasn't accounting for the things you have to do to maintain iron levels when you're vegan, perhaps, or eating enough iron, and which she did address obviously before London because she got a medal. And I wasn't eating enough because Karen, although Karen's quite big, she's 6 foot tall, because she's paralysed, she doesn't use a lot of muscle mass and therefore she doesn't need a lot of calories. I was training twice a day and I lost a huge amount of weight and got quite underweight. So a similar experience in the certainly calorie content to the couple I was talking about earlier. So what can you do about it? Well, the best thing I've found is to use a diet tracker. For instance, MyFitnessPal, Livestrong is a good one as well, and they both have a really good library of meals, and you can scan barcodes and stuff like that. And they've got really they've got a really good database. Another really good one is Cronometer, and that does a lot more detail in micronutrients, macronutrients, and you can set graphs and look at progress and various other factors. But unfortunately, it doesn't have quite as good a database, and certainly that's been my finding. I think if you're in the US, then the databases work pretty well, but when you're outside the US, then the other trackers sometimes work better and sometimes work worse. But if you're prepared to put the legwork in and get all the details in for the specific foods that you eat, might just take a couple of weeks of hard work, because people tend to eat the same sort of things week on week. In fact, I found that when I used Cronometer because I wanted to get a handle on iron levels, and a lot of the iron levels aren't in MyFitnessPal. So I put the iron levels in for the foods that I was eating, and that was a really good way of checking my iron intake. So once you've got this information into your diet tracker, then you can start to make adjustments and balance things out and make sure that you're eating optimally for the level of exercise that you're taking, and that should see that your performances either stay on track or get back on track. What I've found is obviously you still need to know how many calories you need, and the best way to do that is to get some sort of base level. You can use the base levels in MyFitnessPal, or you can use a calculator. Anita Bean's books have calculators in to work out what your base metabolic rate is, and then you can add on the exercise that's calculated from your sports gadgets. You watch Garmin has a calculator for calories, Training Peaks does calories, Strava does an estimate of calories. So you've then got the calories from your exercise, add it to your base metabolic rate. The best way to do it is to work out your calories per day, because if you, for instance, if you have a rest day, you might, and you're a small female, you might only have 1,000 calories to eat, but your weekly average might be 1,500 or even 2,000. So you sort of can't eat anything on your rest days if you're trying to do the specific amount per day. So working out a daily average is the best way to go, and that also means that you're eating properly on your rest day. So that promotes recovery from the harder training that you've done running up to that. So as I said, the main things I found are protein and calories. Protein, because you need so much protein per kilogram of body weight. Sort of 1.2 to 1.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is the general guideline, and therefore, if you're heavier, so if you're a man living with a woman, the woman might get she might be getting enough protein, and you might not be getting enough, and protein can make a big impact on your performance. So if you use a diet tracker, it can be a right faff to do it all the time continuously, but you need to do it to get some sort of baseline, maybe do a couple of weeks or a month if you can, and then once you've got that baseline and you keep you've got into a habit, a routine of eating certain things, and you know certain things work for you, then you can then just do a spot check, do 1 week every now and again just to make sure things are on track. And that's all you need to do. But I just wanted to do the video to highlight that it can be an issue, and to keep an eye on things if you live with somebody, or even if you're in a shared house and you're eating together, perhaps with non-athletes. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful, and please subscribe if you did. Click the bell to get a reminder when I do another one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.